Inuyashiki continues to just immerse me so damn much. And I could expect that this episode might get some hate because trying to make Hiro not look like a complete sociopath or just insane serial killer, which she is, but I thought the way they handled his kind of like restoring the balance in his heart that his mother's death kind of removed, because his mother was an anchor that was going to change him into being not a psychopathic killer. However, the way they're doing this and the way they're trying to build Hiro into not being someone who's just insane and has no morals and try to build him into someone like our main character, I thought they did it brilliantly because and I just expect that this girl's gonna get hate because how could you fall in love or still love a person who is a killer, who admits to all of his crimes? But a lot of people don't understand, not everyone's going to be able to just abandon their feelings when you learn something bad about someone. And even though she hasn't known him for that long, she still has fallen in love, and once you're in love, sometimes it's very hard to separate yourself even if you know you should. So the way they use her character, and I really appreciate that they did bring her into the fray here, because really it just makes this entire show so much more interesting, because when his mother literally killed herself because she couldn't deal with what her son did, that removed any sort of humanity he might have had left. And this is really interesting because we have a character who thinks he is no longer human, he is a machine. He died the night that that machine implanted into his body, where we have a main character who's trying to keep his humanity, so it's very opposite to one another. So when you're focusing on Hiro, who is literally trying to make the one person who hasn't abandoned him hate him, the same way his mother seemingly did, because otherwise she wouldn't have taken her own life, it's so interesting to see a character say, I won't abandon you and I want you to stay with me, and that, for a moment, restores like, why? I'm such a horrible person, I'm not even human, I died that night. I literally go into homes every night and just kill innocent families. Why would you want to stay with me? And there is no answer. It makes sense to anyone else other than her, and even in her mind, she's not gonna understand it. But that restores the balance, and there's no way to redeem what he did. Killing him will not bring back the people that are dead, but it would stop future people from getting killed. And he could save lives, but it won't bring back the others, but it will stop other people from dying. So, like, there's no proper answer, and she recognizes that him turning himself in, that will get him killed. Him not turning himself in won't do anything. The best outcome that they can see is for him to use his abilities and heal people and save people. And seeing it, it's not like it restores what Hiro has done. You still think Hiro is despicable for what he's done, but to see such a complex rotation of his character from all the different moments in his life, it makes Hiro to be one of the best antagonists just because he's not, I'm psychopathic because of this one incident, because back in the day, I saw someone kill themselves in front of a bullet train, and that set me off, which I do appreciate we saw that, because there's usually something in someone's life that triggers them into becoming something that is less than human, so I appreciate seeing that. That's what a lot of stories would do, is just that moment, but to see such a complex cycle in his character makes it so intriguing. So the moments when you're watching him just save people, I'm not looking at him saying like, oh, what a nice guy he is. I'm looking at it as, this girl could literally keep the balance that he needs, and more than likely this would be the best outcome, is forcing him into almost like a life of community service. But the only way that you could probably make that work is if he was under severe government watch for his entire life. But you know that can't happen, especially with how this ends and the SWAT team seemingly about to blow that building to shit. And I don't see that grandmother and that girl coming out alive, but then again, maybe he'll be able to revive them. But you know, like with his mother when he was going to change, this change isn't gonna last, and he is going to go on a path of revenge, probably even worse than when his mother died, because this girl even changed him even more than his mother did. And it was sweet to see what this girl could do to him, but you know it can't last. Unless this was one of the last episodes in the season, I knew this wasn't going to stay happy-go-lucky for long, but I just love what they did. This was so intriguing, and I know this is probably going to get some hate because how could this dumb girl like this psychopathic killer, or, oh, we're trying to make Hiro look like a good guy, but it never felt like we're trying to make Hiro look like a good guy. We're trying to make Hiro just seem something more than a mindless robot that he's trying to convince himself he is, and this girl sees something that, you have this incredible gift, let's not waste it. And I thought it was just so interesting seeing the rotation of his character throughout this entire season, but just to see how much this girl replaced his mother, who took her own life because she was ashamed of what her son did, and to see that this is almost like a redemption for him, so it's just so good. The writing was brilliant in my opinion, And I did notice some people say that they thought that the animation quality dropped a lot in this episode when I was just reading some forum posts there. Personally, I didn't notice anything too major. Maybe I was just so immersed in the episode that I missed some of the obvious issues, but for me, I thought this looked great and it sounded great. The instrumentals in this episode are great. Like, I feel like the soundtrack, it reuses a lot of tracks, but I feel like the tracks just work for the scenes that they need to. The more kind of techno stuff to really get you kind of pumped up, and then the more kind of piano tracks really set the atmosphere for the more emotional scenes. And I just loved everything about this episode. Like, seriously, seeing something like Hiro try to convince the girl who seems like so head over heels, convincing herself that he can't be the killer, and when she learns that he is the killer, she's like, no, this is just a lie. And then him having the kind of X-Acto knife, stabbing himself, saying like, look it, I'm not human anymore, almost killing her, dropping her off, but she refuses to let go on the hope that he could be a better person. It's just a great moment, and it makes it so more complex than just him continuing killing people, and that's that. This is why I think the show works so well, and why I think it's so brilliant and has immersed me as much as it has, because it's far more complex than just a psychopathic killer that you would see on a general crime show like Law and Order or something like that. I really enjoyed this episode. I expect this could get a lot of criticism because it was so different and we're painting Hiro in a positive spotlight, but if you really look at what happened with his family life and how this was more or less replacing his mother who killed herself, it makes total sense for his character, and I personally love it. But let me know your thoughts. What did you think of this episode, and how do you think episode 8 is going to start out with the SWAT team seemingly about to blow that building to shit? Let me know your thoughts, and before you leave, smack that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.